you are entering into a brand new season. This is a seasoning, okay, it's a seasoning of awakening. So there's something that you're sprinkling, okay, on, and it's giving your life more flavor. This is funny, already opening up with the sun's ingress into Aquarius. This has happened since the 19th of January. And this is leading to many activations across your life taking place. I'm seeing specifically a slate being wiped clean and the fundamental construct of something. I'm seeing the anatomical layer of this reality is reconfiguring itself to correspond with the internal transformation that you've been going through, especially throughout 2025. I'm hearing this is the last final sweep, and I'm seeing as something is being swept, I'm seeing an ace be revealed to the world. This could be a hidden ace that you have that you're revealing to the world, especially around the trajectory that your life is taking. Because if you think about Aquarius, there's two planetary rulers, right? We have Saturn, and then we also have Uranus, which is more modern. So with Saturn, this represents the tangible things. It talks about the journey that we experience through time, or more accurately, time moving through us. And it's things manifesting and materializing into the physical, but Uranus is in very unexpected ways. This is about sudden revelations, breakthroughs, things that seem like they come out of the blue, destabilization that happens in your life that actually becomes the biggest reason for your transformation. So that's what I'm seeing. Saturn is the taskmaster. He will grant you what it is that you want, but he requires you to devote and dedicate yourself to a very specific future vision and make sure that your actions that you're taking in the present moment are congruent with that specific vision. And by doing that, you anchor that future into the now. And I'm seeing there's something that you're doing, there's something that you've been applying yourself to, where you've actually been drawing in certain corresponding, not just planes of consciousness, but also corresponding realities that you've been intentionally I'm seeing almost like drawing towards you, right? There is the law of assumption I'm hearing that you've been operating under, whether you've been aware or unaware of this. This is the law of assumption that has been quietly shaping your life, because Aquarius season is where essentially consciousness steps out of instinct and it begins to step into this awareness, and there is this highly divine, intelligent essence that has been guiding you and is going to continue guiding you forward. It's not a season of emotional intensity, okay? We've been through that. This is a season of perspective, where the frameworks and how you view your life on earth and what that could look like and the potentials, oh, I'm getting chills, has shifted. It's shifted exponentially, okay? I feel like saying califragilistic, what's that word that's coming through? Califragilistic expialidocious, even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, there's something around like something that's just extra, okay, with the seasoning and how we opened up. I'm just seeing something kind of like sprinkle or something enhancing your worldly experience in some way, because that's what seasoning does, right? It gives a flavor, and I'm seeing different experiences kind of be overlaid with a very specific intention that you have to experience. And especially when we talk about flavor, could be Venetian energy and the five senses. I'm just seeing something being spotlighted, and it's not necessarily you. What's actually being spotlighted right now is how you think, what you choose, and what future you've been quietly aligning with. And that's going to, I'm hearing, surmount or be paramount moving forward. And I'm seeing someone look at a very specific milestone in their life, and it has already happened on a quantum level, but you're witnessing this unfold like a memory, but you don't know how the journey is going to unfold. It's just like you're following your heart's desires and the universe is revealing its mysteries to you. So we're going to talk about the sun in Aquarius. If you don't know, there were so many extra messages that were coming through just opening up. But yeah, there's this higher perspective where something's going to be illuminated to you during this time, and I feel like it's where you've been living on autopilot in some area of your life, maybe where you've inherited identities that no longer match your current frequency that you were embodying. And the thing is about identities, when we see a very specific personality or archetype of ourselves, that's just one octave or one version of us, right? Maybe that's like the pessimistic, and I'm seeing, looking in the mirror and seeing also there's this optimistic side of you, and as a multi-dimensional being, you're being called to embrace and hold space for the paradox in which you are both simultaneously. But it's being aware of what octave you're in, That's what I'm seeing as well. It's like you're becoming aware of how you're always phasing in and out of dimensions, but you're aware of when you're phasing into a lower dimension of this reality. Maybe like, again, shifting the frameworks and how you view this reality through a smaller myopic lens versus seeing it through the lens of the soul and it expanding. I'm hearing into limitless timelines. So this is about where you've also been loyal to timelines that have now expired. And what I mean by the expiration date, it's like things that have served a purpose in your life, but also no longer do moving forward. And I'm seeing with the seasoning, it's not personal, it is just vibrational. It's just not vibrationally aligned with whatever dish you're cooking up next, you know? It's like if you're making curry or Indian food, you don't want to be putting, I don't know, like Jamaican like jerk seasoning into whatever you're cooking, because it's not gonna blend, it's not gonna be complementary. And I'm seeing you be so intentional with the things that you're overlaying into your experience. So Aquarius doesn't ask, how do I feel? It asks, is this true to me? It's all about authenticity. Is this true to me and who I am at this stage of my evolution journey? Whew, I'm feeling like many even emotions rise throughout my vessel right now, and I'm just observing it. So I feel like there's a different path of authenticity where you're no longer reinforcing the same expectations that you've had of yourself, but also those around you have had of you. Instead, you're being granted this invitation, being offered this invitation, literally beckoned to come and safely learn more about what your life on earth could look like as you begin to embrace these new ways of being. So the transit shifts from this spotlight of personal survival into this collective intelligence, from reaction to observation, right? From habit into a conscious choice. And this is where you are breaking free in some way. That's what I'm seeing. Again, destabilization, where you're actually breaking down certain networks, right? Maybe these are certain timelines that you have been reinforcing or feeding in some way by continuing to do the things that you have done. But what it is that you've done moving forward is no longer going to be the things that you're doing moving forward, right? Does that make sense? What it is that you've done to get to where it is that you are, and who you've had to be to get to where it is that you are, is no longer who you have to be moving forward, right? That makes sense. And you may feel even like slightly detached, but also clearer, right? Because to become detached is actually to become more fluid in this existence. To become more fluid is actually to move more high vibrationy, and it's like you're moving like water, right? You're less emotionally reactive and you're more honest with yourself. This is a season where you're going to be literally uninterested with things like drama, but you're also deeply invested with the meaning behind this. It's where you're called to step back so that you can actually see the whole pattern, right? This is the opposite of Aquarius is Leo, right? So what is also being highlighted is that you are not here to be the portrait in the photo. You're actually here to be part of the the painting, where there's like a group or community or network. So I'm seeing new networks that you're going to be calling into your experience, new friendships. I'm hearing, especially if you've been moving through this solitary this solitary moment, you know, I'm seeing with Capricorn season, I'm just seeing like this lone mountain that's been mountain, I guess lone mountain. You are the mountain and the goat, the mountain goat, simultaneously, right? So that's what I'm seeing, just like interconnectedness, where you're not just the sun with Leo, you're also part of this solar system. And I'm just being shown this interconnectedness that you're going to have to all things. By zooming out, you're going to see that what felt like a storm of your life is only just a speck when it comes to the grand scheme of things. So zoom out. There's more going on than what you initially thought. That's what I'm seeing for you. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into it, guys. I do want to open up before we get in with the oracles that we have for, I guess, what you can expect during this Aquarius season. And I'm seeing this is actually going to continue to be reactivated for you. I'm hearing 1 year from now. So I'm seeing by next Aquarius season in 2027, some of you may be revisiting this message. This is so interesting. It's going to continue to ripple through space and time, and you're going to see how many of these things came to pass, but also will come back around because timing is spherical, it's not linear. yeah, I'm seeing this is going to continue to be a theme in your reality as well. So this is also a timeless message. But let's talk about if the sun in Aquarius were a person, first of all. If you guys have this transit, or you are in Aqua sun or rising, happy, solar return. I hope you guys are having a beautiful season. But yeah, let's talk about if the sun in Aquarius were a person, this transit personified. If the sun in Aquarius were a person, they wouldn't enter the room trying to be seen. Instead, they'd enter and suddenly everybody would just think differently. Not because they persuaded, not because they dominated, but because their presence reorganized the mental field. This person speaks in ideas that unlock doors in your mind. They ask questions you didn't know that you were allowed to ask. And they refuse to be emotionally manipulated or to manipulate. They don't need agreement to stand in their truth. They're friendly, but they're also not familiar. They're warm, but not clingy. They're present, but not enmeshed. They might say things like, just because it's normal doesn't mean that it's aligned. Or, what if it isn't happening to you, but the future version of you? They don't tell you what to believe. They help you to remember how to think. Being around them feels like you're waking up from this long dream and you're realizing you don't have to play a role anymore. Understanding yourself from a higher vantage point. They don't pull you closer. They invite you to stand beside them as an equal. How this transit impacts the spiritual being having a human experience is the soul inside of the body. Sun in Aquarius is this reorientation that happens for the soul. This is where a spiritual being begins to remember you are not your conditioning. You are not your past reactions. You are not here to repeat inherited scripts. This is knowing that there is a part of you innate that has been untouched by time, unaffected by the events that have been orchestrated during your space-time travel experience. Aquarius light moves through the nervous system like this fresh air, and it loosens this emotional grip. It cools old attachments and it restores choice. You may notice things like old identities losing charge, relationships rebalancing or being redefined during this time. Also, a desire to step back and observe your life rather than being consumed by it. And that can lead to sudden clarity about where you no longer belong. This isn't disconnection. Instead, it's this de-identification. The soul says, I can care without clinging. I can participate without losing myself. I can love without becoming small. Core themes of the sun in Aquarius during this season is it's going to activate things like sovereignty within the mind, right? The first Hermetic principles that the universe is mental. There are going to be certain things that are going to allow you to think for yourself again as a sovereign being, no longer being a bystander in your reality, not a passive observer, but again, a sovereign creator and choosing what it is that you want to create for yourself, not because of how you're going to be perceived, but just creation for creation's sake. And truth over comfort. This is clarity that's going to replace any kind of emotional fog that you've been experiencing. And this leads to future orientation, where you're more focused on whom it is that you're becoming, and that matters most compared to who it is that you've been, right? So authentic contribution is going to be a huge theme, where this is about how you're serving the collective through being yourself and being detached enough to understand your own wisdom that you've been able to cultivate through your past experiences around what serves your highest possible expression, right? The soul's highest possible expression, experiencing itself through form, and what doesn't. And this isn't coldness, it's just conscious space. This is the season where the soul steps slightly above the body and it begins to say, let me see the pattern before I choose my next move. The deeper truth of Sun in Aquarius is the Sun in Aquarius doesn't ask you to abandon your heart. It asks you to stop abandoning your awareness. This is illumination without ego, individuality without isolation, belonging without this conformity. Aquarius teaches us that freedom is not rebellion. It's alignment. Individuality, it's not selfish. It's necessary. And clarity is not being cold, it's compassionate. Because if your compassion does not include yourself, it is not complete. And above all, this season reminds the spiritual being that you're here to participate in the world and not disappear in it. So, let's go ahead and pull some messages for Aquarius season. Let's take a look at the quantum with the Cosmos Oracle message first. And just give me one energy card. Okay. Oh, attraction. What did I say, guys? You are putting something into your field. Now, attraction is what actually feels like it's really good to you at this stage of your journey. With Vapor Trail, the way that I see this card is it's a mark being left in the historical timeline. And it's so funny because I'm seeing a dial be turned and it's changing or altering the trajectory. Almost like a decision that's being made, right? I don't know if you guys have heard of ontological narrator, but an analogy for it would be a train moving down a track, and it can't change the decisions that it's made on the track, right? And everything that's brought it to this point, but it can change the decisions that it wants to make moving forward. And every decision creates this forking road. Okay, it creates a fork in the road. It creates this branching universe where a new train track actually diverges and it splits, compared to if you say yes to this thing or if you say no to this thing. That will lead to a different continuum, also a different, you know, ecosystem opening up filled with new people that would actually get on that train. That's what I'm seeing, right? Because they would go to different stations, and maybe they'd circle back around, right? I'm seeing also, don't be afraid to make that decision, because you can always go back to where things were. So don't be afraid to experiment. That's also a very specific message. Think about this as an experimental season where you're collecting data around what it is that you're actually going to bring forth into the new year. Right, so let's go and take a look at attraction for you. I love this card. So there's something that you're attracting in, based off of this embodiment, based off of the things that you actually choose to do. Attraction. Attraction is a force which makes an object, person, a situation or pattern, etc. move towards another, or vice versa. The magnetism it creates is so large that the energy bodies attract each other continuously to find themselves face to face. It is the action of attracting, and a result it behaves as functioning of the law of attraction. This means that the energy units emitted will send back a similar wave of energy to the one released. So when you release this intention right into the quantum field, you release this very specific signal. That signal is received, and you actually receive something. It actually that transmission is received, it's absorbed, and it then begins to send out something in resonance with you. So the bodies attract each other due to the high vibrational energy that are in tune. So this is something that is supporting the most authentic. I'm also hearing like fierce and ferocious version of yourself, and I'm seeing it as courage, because your life shrinks or expands according to your courage. Are you ready to make decisions that you haven't done before? I'm just seeing like the train track. They keep showing me like a straight path, and at any moment you can decide to what would be the word? You know when someone takes a detour, you know when you're on a bus or a train and there's an announcement being made around, oh, we are on it's a point of divergence. That's what I would say. Okay, that's what I'm seeing. Get curious, because those different thoughts I'm hearing, okay, that death to that path, that ending to how things once were, are dimensional playing fields. I'm hearing it's a direct access point. It's a wormhole that opens up. It's a shortcut to, I'm seeing a shift of timelines. So there's some type of way of thinking that will also change the way that you feel about this decision. It will change the way that you experience it. And a lot of you guys have said in the comment section, instead of fearing the unknown, get excited about the unknown. And this is really about leaning into allowing that aspect to be a friend, because that's where the magic lies. That's how the quantum field operates. That's what I'm seeing. Okay, yeah, like you're shifting. It feels like a huge shift that's happening, and it's because awakening is not changing who you are, it's discarding whom you're not, right? So this is less about even the decisions that you're making, and also the ones that you're no longer settling for. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, let's take a look at attraction. Ooh, where should we go from here? I feel like a kid in the candy store whenever I'm back and have like all my decks accessible to me. I'm like, what do I want to play with next? All right, let's see. Ooh, chop wood. This is, don't underestimate how the small decisions you make will lead to far greater consequences. Okay, and I'm seeing this as positive consequences. Chop wood basically talks about the small things that you devote yourself to or dedicate yourself to on a daily basis. All right, and then you have milk and honey. So again, at the base, this is how small decisions lead to great rewards. The land of milk and honey talks about basically experiencing heaven on earth. And the thing is, the gates of are open for the children of the earth, right? Have you guys ever heard? I'm paraphrasing, but there's a saying, and it talks about heaven being not a location, but actually a state of consciousness. And when you remember yourself as the emerald tablets, thus says a child of light, returning back to that wisdom, right? We're all sourced from that wisdom, learning to return to it once again. That's what it is to become the plasma once again, right? To tune back into your plasma origins and have that intercommunication with that soulful explorer, right? It's answering the soul's call for exploration, and it definitely feels like you're answering a call. This is focusing also on what is calling you instead of what it is that you're leaving behind. That's what it feels as if is going on, but what it is that you're leaving behind is energy, and that energy is only being updated. I'm hearing it's transforming itself into a new wave of possibilities, right? There's like this continuous flow. That's what I'm seeing also for you. Like, how do I explain this, Spirit? It's a continuous flow where, again, death is not an ending. It is quite literally a glimpse into new dimensions where new stories get to play out. So I'm seeing, again, a death to an old way of being, a death to something that you feel like you're leaving behind is only going to transfer and transform itself into a new experience for you to begin to play with in the physical realm. That's what I'm seeing. All right. Okay, I'm hearing endless, boundless, plentiful, bountiful, beautiful. Deceit and cornucopia is don't self-sabotage yourself from the greatest harvest that you could ever experience. Cornucopia is a seed that you had planted, and mainly I'm seeing it as a seed where you are a star seed, right? You've been seeded onto this planet, and you are in this conscious womb when we're talking about Gaia and this cosmic overlay, this construct. It's designed for you to win, it's designed for you to play in, it's designed for you to create and experience yourself as a creator playing inside of its own creation. It's so far from base reality, it's unreal. And this, what I'm seeing with this is the universe is abundant, the only lack that exists is within your mind. Can you hold space for that fearful octave of yourself that you're going to be coexisting with? That's how I'm seeing this, right? Because this is literally about one of the most auspicious cards in the deck, and it comes from there's nothing in your way. This is about where you're getting in your own way. Okay, right, let's see. Again, this is focusing on what feels aligned, what isn't aligned, what thoughts are conducive and supportive, what thoughts are not conducive and supportive. We have unmarked trail, Garden of Venus, rest and renewal. We'll be talking about Venetian energy earlier, right? The Garden of Venus basically talks about this person, and they are in this garden, and as they're in this garden, there's someone by the fence on the outskirts. It's someone who they've been in wars with, they've been in battles with before, almost something that feels like a lifetime ago within this lifetime. And they've always known them as this person that goes out and uses their sword. They use their weapon. I'm seeing some of you, your tongue is your sword, okay? And and they're expecting you to reinforce that same way of being. But when the unmarked trail revelation, this is Arthurian knight, who is embarking on this new quest. They're about to reinforce these new ways of being, and it looks very different than the expectations or reference point that others have had of them. And because again you're breaking out of this old identity, which means you're breaking out of these old belief systems, these personal relations, we're talking about first house aspects, personal attributes that's changing. I'm seeing shock, a shock, a shock, a shock. Instead, what the Guardian of Venus decides to do is they stoop down and scoop up these healing waters, right, from the garden. And they look at their reflection and they rinse their face and they look at the water and they see whom it is that they've become. Not who they used to be, but who they've become and who they're becoming. It's this ever unfolding journey. And then they decide quietly to step out onto the battlefield, but they realize that there's no use for their sword anymore. They don't need to explain themselves for social courtesy, to seek approval, permission, for embodying this new way of being. They just feel a little bit of, put some seasoning on there, they just feel a little bit spicy in a different way. Right? They actually step onto the battlefield and they show others who they have become by beginning to mirror a different example. Instead of answering calls for attention or calls for love, which can come through these exaggerated emotions around, how can you do that? How are you embracing these different ways of being? Who are you? Who are you? Because I don't recognize you from the last time we chilled or the last time There's just something around that where you're literally becoming unrecognizable even to yourself. And they don't even have to say a thing. It's trees that do not announce their growth. Silence becoming its own transmission. Nature does not rush, yet everything is still accomplished. There's something masterful that you're doing, and I'm seeing a masterpiece, still feeling like a work in progress to you, and I'm seeing that as yourself. But I'm hearing it's deeply admired, inspired, but also shocking. I'm hearing there's a bubble that you're bursting. It's with a frequency. They're showing me a visual of, have you ever heard like opera singers and they sing to this very specific frequency where it actually shatters glass? That's what I'm seeing. There's some type of illusion that you're shattering. And the illusion is that you're fixed in any way. Because when we talk about Aquarius steps outside of the box. They don't do the right thing because they know that box, the right thing to do, is invented by people who are afraid. And the thing is, when you begin to change and you force those around you to shift their point of reference for you in how they've known you versus I'm hearing how they're relearning you or they're getting to know this new embodiment or version of self, there's like this internal recalibration, and it can feel uncomfortable to those who also resist that change within themselves because it confronts that you're changing beyond recognition. Right? That's what I'm seeing. Again, these old networks are breaking down, the nucleus of a family. Right, that's what I'm seeing. If you guys have seen the nucleus of a family reading that we did, let me know so I can link it down below. I'll try and comment it in the comment section where I explain that much further. But anyway, let's go and read this, right? Let me read Arcturian Night for you 57 because this is a really beautiful journey. Unprecedented experience, discovery, and a revelation. You're called now to embark on a sacred journey. The Arcturian Knights in their quest for the Holy Grail. I don't know why I'm finding this funny, but apparently, to make sure the unmarked trail that no one has ever followed, or they would not accomplish their goal. Likewise, you must enter the dark forest of your soul via a route as yet undefined to find what it is that you seek. It's almost as if you're being sent on some type of legendary side quest. That's what I'm seeing. Again, you may seem crazy, okay? You may just seem insane to everyone around you when you're dancing to music that they cannot hear. And not everyone was supposed to understand your calling because it wasn't a conference call. This feels something like something that's so personal to the self, okay? Anyway, the manicured paths will only bring you temporary pleasure and later greater pain. Stop it. You already know that there's no reward at the end of the road that you're following. You are only killing time. Pause, breathe, and commit in your heart to a sacred endeavour. Vow to not look for old solutions that may have worked with past challenges. Get out of character. Try the outrageousness and keep your quest private. Now's not the time to speak of the voice that called for you to embark on the unmarked trail. That time will come. The unmarked trail can be a sign that you have already made a choice, even if you do not want to acknowledge it. Be at peace with what your heart knows to be true. Your heart has already been made up and your mind will follow. Pack lightly, taking with you only the essential beliefs that you know to are trustworthy under all circumstances. The universe has your back. The quote that's coming through, and I don't want this to be, I mean, I know it will anyway. This is something that I'm understanding I must release in terms of how some of these messages will be received based upon the perception of that human and what filter they're tuning into, whether they're conscious or unconscious of it. But have you ever heard the quote of, in order to confuse your enemies, you must first confuse yourself? And the thing is, when we see that through the lens of the heart space, balanced, we understand our interconnectedness to all things, and we know that if there is no enemy within, there is no enemy without. And we understand that all those around us are doing, which are source experiencing itself through infinite countless life forms, so other extensions of you, all extensions of the source, all children of light, all fractals of awareness, fractals of infinite potential, whether that infinite potential lays dormant or has awoken within that deity that has been lost in sleeping and matter, or is lucidly navigating this construct, however that may be applied. There's invitations being sent. You're sending, when we understand what am I teaching myself through the form of another me, because I'm just another you and you're another me, right? The light that you see in me is the exact same light and wisdom that exists within you. You'll say, what am I teaching myself? Because life is not happening to you or even for you. It's happening through you, right? It's coming not at you, but from you. So if it's life is coming from you, this energetic simulation, right, is being projected from you as the universe experiencing itself as human. You're in this holographic dome. Okay, what am I teaching myself through other forms of me? What am I inviting myself to do? Even if that version of myself, that deity, is not totally aware of it. How can I see this dynamic through the lens of the soul, right? How can you turn what may feel like poison to the ego into medicine for the soul? Turn leaden experiences into golden opportunities. I feel like that's what's going on. So, with that being said, I'm going to love and leave you guys right there. I hope that you enjoyed this reading. I hope you enjoyed this message. I did. It was fun. Yeah, I'm gonna go. And I don't know if I said, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing, because we'd love to have you around. Also check out Auto Spirit if you're looking for some high quality AAE grade jewelry. We have card neon on today. Moonstone and rainbow moonstone as well, so confidence, intuition stones. You have 2 discount codes for that in the description box, and I'll speak to you very soon. Also, let me know if you're an Aqua rising, Aqua sun, if you have any significant Aqua placements in your chart. What do you feel like this season is? Also, what do you feel like you're seeing yourself move beyond? That's what I'm seeing, evolve beyond, because I'm seeing someone driving their car but they're looking in the rearview mirror, and there's almost an old paradigm that is dissolving as this new road that they're embarking on is unfolding before them. Yeah, as you walk the path continues to unfold for you. Until next time, bye.